Hi everyone, this is the second lab in the Azure Fundamental course. In this lab, we're going to be creating an Azure resource. The first thing you need to do is to activate your sandbox. Each sandbox created for you comes with different permissions. So here, I think in this lab, we are going to be making use of the Azure portal specifically, and we are going to be creating a virtual machine. So let's start by activating our sandbox. So this is verifying the permission I currently have. It's creating the resource group, assigning roles. So let's wait. Now the sandbox is ready and we can start using it. So like I said, we are not making use of the CLI for the course of this lab. We are going to be making use of the Azure portal. So you can just click on, let me just right click, open this in a new tab. So that's on. So let's just hold on for this to complete. So as you can see, I'm currently signed in to the Sandbox environment. So what I can do, because I want to be checking what is on the other side, so I can split my screen into two. So the first thing that needs to be done here is to create our virtual machine. And how do we do that? We can do that by clicking on the create a resource, as you can see here. So I'll go ahead to click this. Now, this is going to take me to where we have all the resources that you can actually create. So here you can see the virtual machine, and you can still go to this part by going to the compute, then search for the virtual machine. Since we have lots of resources here, these are the popular services or popular resources. So you can click on search more in all services, and this will list all the services and all the resources that you can actually create. Now here, now I can search for, yeah, I can search for the virtual machine. Yeah, you can see the virtual machine. You can click on that, and yeah, I can click on create, or I just wait for the virtual machine to load. Now let's click on create. You can do that from here. You can also do that from here. Another trick is for you to search for whatever resource you want to create from this part, and you go ahead to, let's say from here, you can see the virtual machine is one of the favorite resources. So instead of me going to the create a resource, then going to compute, I can just search for virtual machine here and start creating. So I'm going to create a virtual machine. Now you can see we have different tabs here: the basic, the disk, the networking, the management, and the monitoring, advanced tags, and this is where you review. And the first thing you need to do, like I've actually explained, you need a subscription to be able to create any resource. And this is the subscription that has actually been assigned to us in the Sandbox environment, the concierge subscription. So the next thing is for us to go through what we currently have here and use this to complete the lab. Now, the first thing we need to select under the basic tab is the subscription, which is the concierge subscription, as you can see here. Then the next thing is to select a resource group, and the resource group is the one that begins with learn. So we are not creating a new resource group, because if you do that, based on the permission that has been assigned to your user account, you might not be able to complete this lab. So you need to follow this instruction. So I'm going to select this resource group, which is the one that starts with learn. Then virtual machine name, you can decide to give it another name. It doesn't have to be this, but I'm going to go with what we have in here. Region, leave as default, so leave it as West US. Availability options, leave it as default. Security type, leave it as default. image, leave it as default. VM architecture, leave it as default. Run with Azure Spot Discount, uncheck is currently unchecked. Size, leave it as it is. Authentication type needs to change that to password. Then username. So I'm going to copy this. So you can decide to give it a different username, but I'm going to use the same username that we have here. Then password, enter a custom password. So you put in a password. Yeah. And that is done. Then public inbound ports, set it as none. We are not trying to, you know, we are not trying to remote into or logging into that machine. And that's why we're, not setting any public inbound ports. So let's go ahead. So the next thing is for you to click on review and create. Now, as you can see here, you're going to get the pricing. This is per hour. If this machine is, left to run like 24 hours per day, this is just like a prediction of what, you get to pay every hour when this machine is running. And these are the informations that have been supplied. Some of the informations that we have here, since we only worked on the basic tabs, these are the ones we actually worked on, and these ones are left as default. So when you're creating a virtual machine, there are a lot of other resources that will be created, like the disks, the networking, which is the virtual network, the subnet, the public IP, and some other things. So you can see the monitoring. If you want to monitor whatever is going on inside your virtual machine, you can go ahead to do that. So yeah, we are just going to complete this lab by clicking create, and you can see validation passed. So the virtual machine is being provisioned. So let's just wait. Now you can see analyzing the deployments, submitting deployments, and I can just wait. Now deployment in progress. I'll click on that deployment, and this takes me to, you know, now still in progress. You can see, like I said, there are some other resources that needs to be created alongside your virtual machine, and you can see the virtual networks. The virtual network is created first, so the VNet, the IP, the NSG. You can see some other, you know, some other resources being created also. Yeah, then we have, the VM being created. Then this is done. We can just go to verify that our resource has been created. You can go ahead to click on this, go to resources, or go to resource, and you can see the go to resource. So this is the virtual machine we just created. And so the next thing, just what I'm checking now, but you can go through this route also by selecting home. From home, then you can click on the resource group, then search for, let's say, if I go back to home, I'm going to enlarge the screen now. So I can go back here and search for maybe resource groups. Then inside the resource group, you can, you get to see, the resource group. You can see all the resources that have been actually deployed within that resource group. So like I said, when you are deploying a virtual machine, there are a lot of other resources that needs to be deployed alongside that virtual machine. And that's what you can see here. You can see the disks, the network interface, the virtual network itself, the network security, which is the NSG, the IP address, the virtual machine itself. This storage account was actually created, before we even access this environment. So like I said, for us to be able to make use of the cloud shell that you can see on the other screen, before I enlarge this screen, we need a storage account to be created. All these resources that you can see here will be discarded automatically after an hour once the sandbox is all right. Thank you.